The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios.
Hi, this is Mia Mosinzia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, available in print and ebook formats on Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios and sponsored by international award-winning author Mia Mosinzia of Missing. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 40 podcast platforms, as well as hamiltonradio.net, Diamonds FM, and the mikewagnershow.com. We can be heard in over 100 countries, featuring over 1,000 well-known and amazing guests throughout the globe. And named one of the top 100 global podcasts in the New York Weekly Times, Hollywood Entertainment News, Los Angeles Weekly Times, Apple, and Chartable. So sit back and relax and enjoy another great episode of the award-winning Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios and brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosinzia of Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We're here with a terrific gentleman who's an author and science fiction writer in Ashburn, Virginia. He was also a former reporter for the Washington Post, winning numerous awards. He also worked with Society for Human Resource Management, or SHRM, also the AARP, a nation's business magazine, and also he has a new book out which dives deep into the world of AI. That's been a very hot button subject and make us ask, what would the world be like if AI took over? And thus also follows the story of a lady finding herself in a distant planet with 6 others on AI, sharing the list of the task of saving humanity, and it's after an apocalypse. Could that happen? What do we do? We'll find out just 1 minute. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Ashburn, Virginia, the author and science fiction writer, former reporter for Washington Post, and more. Ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented Steve Bates. Steve, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today and talk about the book, Castle of Sand.
Thank you, sir. Well, it was a fun book to write, even though it's kind of a difficult, if not grim topic, looking at the potential demise of the human race. But something we have to think about. It's something we have to think about in the short term when it comes to AI, because of the potential for the genie to get out of the bottle, for us to lose control of what can be a marvelous collection of resources. Artificial intelligence already helping us marvelously in the area of healthcare, a lot of potential for the business sector, for government, for everyone. But how do we make sure it does what we want it to do? We see a lot of people in government in the US and especially in Europe trying to really get a handle on things, working with the tech sector. I think the biggest problem is that private industry is driving the AI revolution. Everyone wants to make sure that they're at the forefront of whatever the money-making opportunity is or the world-changing opportunity. And so it's going to develop faster than government and even society can really keep up with. So in a way, we just almost have to hope and pray and trust that the folks who are developing AI keep enough of a handle on it so that it doesn't get out of our control. So that's going to be the story in the next few decades. And we have to deal with that in its pluses and minuses. And in my book, Castle of Sand, we have a couple of AIs, actually, one who came from Earth with the spaceship to this remote planet and is trying to help the remnants of the human race basically keep the species going. And then we have an AI that developed on the planet where these folks have arrived and actually grew so big that it physically, literally consumed the entire planet, that it's a planet-wide entity. And it's so powerful and so, well, let's just say, doesn't want to get pushed around by a bunch of people just arrive in a little spaceship from Earth. So we've got some tension going there. So there's all sorts of cross tension going on. People versus people, AI versus AI, and back and forth.
Mm-hmm. And how did you first get interested in AI?
Well, it's kind of inevitable if you're writing science fiction. I mean, I read a lot of nonfiction. I read a lot of science books. I read a lot of cosmology. And what you're seeing, what I'm seeing, and what the experts are saying is that there are things that we're discovering that are more mind-blowing than just about anything that I've written, and certainly even some other science fiction writers have written. For example, we're learning that some people say these new quantum computers that are being developed and will soon put our old computers, leave them in the dust, might actually calculate so much faster than these computers because they are running their calculations in multiple universes at the same time.
Wow.
So when you get to something like that, as a writer, as a citizen of the world and the universe, you say, whoa, so there may be other universes. We may not be able to see them, but we can be already influenced by them. We know that some subatomic particles that make up our whole world and universe are popping into and out of our universe, seemingly at random. So there's stuff going on here that is just mind-blowing. And artificial intelligence is helping to discover this, to embrace it and use it. And it's like we may be already at a point where we're just not even going to be able to understand what some of these machines are able to do because they're teaching themselves. They're poring over the internet and everything humans say, do, and think about, all the data that they have access to. I mean, they're taking, not me, but some other writers, they're taking all the words these people have written, mushing them together, sorting them out, spewing them out in new books and putting out books under people's names that those people do.
Really? So it's like they're writing pretty much their own books, like using our conversation, like as we speak, or in emails. You go to Facebook, Twitter, instant messaging, even textbooks. They can take that and create a book about us or whatever without knowing.
Yeah, really. I haven't caught them setting up a podcast yet, posing as anyone else, and it's obvious. I could swear that I'm not an AI because I would not be running around with as little hair as I have. But how do you really know, Mike? Come on, you don't know.
Right. Yeah, I truly believe you. It's like, if you're an AI, you're like bloop, 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 just like you see like on the like that there's interference coming in, like you watch on TV your favorite game, and all of a sudden it's like you see like that, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm talking like that. So, I mean, if you're AI, you'd be experiencing malfunction by now.
Yeah, well, I'd be sleeping better, and I'd be wouldn't be as overweight. But here's the thing. AI, as I said, it's already learning. We've set it up so that it can do certain things. It can learn in certain ways. From the other side of the spectrum, people are augmenting their bodies, with machinery, missing limbs, damaged nerves. We're just scraping the surface of what, implants and mechanical devices and computer chips in our brains can do. Is it so impossible? I'm just throwing this out there, that there could be some sort of convergence between artificial intelligence and humans. And the reason I ask this is because we know that AI is going to happen. It can't be stopped. AI could not have been created without intelligent organic beings, humans or something similar. I don't think that humans can survive without finding a way to coexist with AI. So some sort of merger, it's not inconceivable to me. And maybe in a couple of years, we'll be talking about this because that might be the theme of my next novel. But, there has to be some sort of dance going on between humanity and AI on a very conscious level, figuring out where we all fit together. If not, we're going to be left in the dust.
hmm And also maybe think of some movies as well too. They're using AI, putting actors, actresses out of work and everything else. And of course, there's some books out there that are close to it. What are some of the movies that you have seen you think are close to what's going to happen with AI, like say iRobot, or I'm trying to think what was the other one that was the most recent, Space Odyssey. I could think of iRobot's probably the most recent one.
Yeah, that's been a while. Actually, a series that's streaming on Apple TV, Foundation, based on the classic books by Isaac Asimov, who's passed many decades ago, is really doing a fantastic job of taking what were classics at the time and kind of reinterpreting them with AI just infused throughout it in this galactic empire. So they've done a good job. You're seeing it almost in every movie now and TV series that is science fiction, because it's just the dominant theme.
And certainly dominant as well too. Talk more about the book Castle of Sand with Steve Bates in just 1 minute. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the mikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to official shout out for official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has got great reviews. And Eve 11 enjoys by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forge Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the mikewagnershow.com and our 40 podcast platforms. Heard in 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, also Apple, Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, LinkedIn. Make sure you subscribe, along with Anchor FM, Spotify, more. Make sure you take us with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the mikewagnershow.com. We're here with the author of Castle of Sand, Steve Bates, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And he also wrote some books like Back to You, The Seeds of Spring, lessons from the Guardian or so, and or Garden, I should say. And then you also did some blogging. Tell us more about that.
Well, yes, I've been around the block. I've found that the urge to write is just part of my DNA. So it's kind of a bad day when I don't write something, even if it's just rewriting a little something, or gosh, a thank you note or something. But those of us who write are always trying to get a little better every day. And the only way you can do that is by writing and writing some more. And well, that's one way. The second way is to read, and reading, because you think you've seen it all. You think every time you pick up a book, well, that's like so-and-so's book, or that's like so. No, there's always something you can pick up from a book, a short story, even some TV shows, not all, but podcasts certainly. And by the way, I've got to get me one of those pillows for sure. But,
well, you know what? I can send you a link on that too if you want to talk to your publicist or somebody. That can be done, no problem. I want to make sure AIs don't send you. It'll be sent by a real live person from Amazon.
Okay,
I'll see to it. Yeah,
because I'm okay with AIs coming around, and as long as they are pretty honest about it. I've there's politicians that come around all the time trying to get votes, and I think some of those are robotic entities, but we won't get into that.
Oh, right? Yeah, or it's just like, they think they come out of ballot boxes, electronic boxes, or anything like that, or just, or maybe like a little MP3 or chipper saying, and ask a certain question and all that. And of course, you can thank Chat GPT too. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't use intentionally a lot of these chatbots, but when it came time to produce a cover for my book, I had an idea, and I found an artist in Canada who uses AI to help her create book covers. And it was one of these brand new devices. So it was my idea, discussed it with her. She plugged in the information into the program. It produced an image or a bunch of images. She manipulated it and fixed it to the way she and I wanted it, and we came up with the cover. And it's like, I think there's some, I don't know, karma there. You're writing about AI, but AI is helping you. So yes, we have to look at AI as a partner. It just has to be a partner we can trust, and that's going to be the trick.
And it sounds rather tricky as well too, and that'll be taking time, technology, and just about everything. Like I can think of the advantages, advents of radio, TV, and especially the internet. It's like you have this really powerful thing, but who knew how you could harness and taking years and everything like that. And plus, you did some writing as well too, and your work paid off, especially winning numerous awards with the Washington Post.
Well, yeah, it was a time when I needed to be sticking to facts, and I did that as long as I felt that it was keeping me fresh and mobilized and energized. And the time finally came when it was like all this science fiction I've been reading and loving for all these years, it just kind of wanted to kind of break out. And so I just sort of put behind the news business. Started writing science fiction. The first ones weren't great, but I kept working at it, took some classes, and the biggest problem was actually just reprogramming my mind from regurgitating facts and, trying to make them a little bit, understandable and telling people directly what's going on, to this sort of indirect kind of using characters and the scenes and situations to produce not just information, but, emotion, longing, desire, surprise when you see that so-and-so isn't really dead or is really an AI instead of a human being. So, I'll probably always be doing that no matter how long I stay at this craft. And, it's just fun to use different parts of your brain, parts of your personality to come out and just sort of pour them out onto the page.
That's really interesting too. And do you think AIs will do just as good a reporting, better reporting? You think they'll fall short if they tried, covering for the Washington Post?
Well, AIs are already writing news articles for newspapers and wire services. It's primarily at the moment very routine things. An announcement from a business that it's acquiring another business, that it's adding a product line, the results of a sporting event that, are not, it's not the big game of the week. It's just some, maybe even a high school game in your area where they get the data, write it up, the so-and-so Falcons won 8-4 with 3 home runs and a wonderful pitching performance by so-and-so. Machines can do that. They can do it well. How far they can take this, I don't know. But between the fact that, print media is struggling, compared with video, movies, TV, and other forms of entertainment, video games, has been struggling, and it will continue to. Newspapers and other, print publications are going to have to continue to cut corners, save money, and find a new way to relate to people directly. So they're going to use AI, whether, they might have to bite their tongue while they do it, but they're going to use it.
And do you think you get to the point where it's like, former writers who used to write are pretty much out of the job? Do you think there'll be room for, like, say, working for AI companies with AI companies, or simply just, maybe do like, a different type of writing? Maybe that to be out of the field or something.
I think there will be a place for writers and editors. I think most of the material we see that is generated by AIs, whether it's news stories, whether it's fiction, will need to be adjusted, moderated, improved by humans, at least for the foreseeable future. And we have seen revolution, the Industrial Revolution. We've seen, all sorts of changes in economies that technology has created over the years. The AI, is the latest in a series of them. When the internet was created, when new technology comes around, jobs disappear, but jobs are created. So some people will lose their jobs. Other people will be able to get a job they wouldn't ordinarily get. Now, the people who lost their jobs won't necessarily be able to be trained for those other jobs. But if you could look long term, you could see that, whenever there's a disruption in the economy, there's always an opportunity for some people who are able to grab it. So long term, I think it won't be that impossible to think of, the fact that we'll be working with and maybe for AIs. But yes, the creative element, I don't see AI having the same ability to come up with compelling human interest stories tucked into the framework of, technology that we can create. They just don't have the understanding of what's inside the beating heart, the soul, the stomach, and other parts we won't discuss.
And also, too, do you think that, and of course, you were held to high journalistic standards when you wrote for the Washington Post and Society for Human Resources, AARP, Nations Business Magazine, everything like that. There's a really high journalistic standards. Do you think the AIs itself can be held to such high journalistic standards, or would it be the creators of AI or who programmed, or are they simply going to just have a different standard?
I think standards will change. I really do think standards will change. People already have, my son and young people today are growing up in a world in which many of them get their information from the internet, from television. I remember my son telling me that he got more out of, Comedy Central than, in the old Daily Show than he, did in terms of news. Reading of news from any other source. He hasn't read a newspaper in years. I used to send him The Economist, but he just doesn't seem to have the time for it. So the nature of news now is and the acquisition of information by people, young people in particular, has changed to the point that they're getting it from the internet and other electronic sources, from friends on social media. And a lot of what they're getting is either fake accounts, fake information, pretending to be from, human beings, or it's just, aggregated by AI and they're just saying, okay, I'm fine with it. And so they're growing up at a time when this sort of quote unquote tight journalistic standards really don't apply, with the exception of, we have to make sure we don't libel and slander people because they'll sue us and we'll go out of business.
Right. I was just going to ask about that libel and slander. Is that going to change? Is that going to stay the same? I think that's a really big ethical question. You know how it's like, like say you write somebody about erroneously or actually, like, so-and-so's a fink and all that. And then you turn and get sued, with the libel with AI, it's like, is that standards going to change? I was going to ask about that.
Yes, people are going to be facing some huge penalties in civil and maybe even criminal courts for the flaws of the material that is produced by an AI, because no AI is buying websites that I know of and putting this information out there. It's all businesses using AI and making money from AI, as far as I know right now. So these people are liable. So yes, they have to be careful. But until a lot of them get sued for a whole lot of money for what AIs have written, they're going to push the envelope until they get, their fingers smashed by some giant ruler in the sky.
or finger smash while on their keyboard. That could happen too. So
there you go.
And of course, speaking of various things coming out of the sky, potential apocalypse, we'll be talking about Castle of Sand with Steve Bates in just 1 minute. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the mikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios, and brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Missing. We'll be back with author Steve Bates of Castle of Sand after this time.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionsea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Ray Powers, and boy, are you in luck. Right place, right time. Tuned in to the Mike Wagner Show. You heard me.
We're back with author Steve Bates of Castle of Sand here on the Mike Wagner Show, and talk about experience with the Washington Post and some of his previous books, Back to You and more. Getting back to Castle of Sand as well, too, that it dives into the deep world of AI. We've gotten into that and makes us wonder what it would be like with AI. And now comes a particular story about a lady finding herself in a distant planet with 6 others and an AI that's sharing the last of what saving humanity after an apocalypse.
Yes, Maria Ramos is the sort of the central figure in my novel, and she's just a regular human being, a soccer mom from Columbia, Maryland, and she just finds herself caught up in a mad rush to just get people into this spaceship and send it off to a distant planet so we have a chance to save humanity, because Earth is just being burned up with an awful spread of an awful disease. So she wakes up on this planet, and it's like, you got to be kidding me! You're telling me we're out here in the middle of nowhere, Earth has been wiped out, and we've got to take some cells you've got stored here in the bottom of the spaceship and turn it into a new civilization based on humanity. And it's like, are you kidding me? And she and the others who are given this task by this AI named Hubert, some of them say, okay, well, why not? What do you got to lose? Let's give it a shot. And others are saying, hell no. Now, if we can create any bodies, I want to be, my mind has to go into those bodies. I don't care about humanity. I just want, to be able to, feel this wind on my face and eat a cheeseburger again. Even if
I'm hungry for one right now. You mentioned it.
Assuming we can build a McDonald's on this place. So
why not?
You've got, just a few individuals and an AI, and then they discover that they're not alone on this planet. There's this planet-wide AI that is not too happy that they're there. There's a native race that is also not happy that they're there, and they're fighting among themselves. So really, there's a lot of things that are going badly.
Oh my gosh.
You can imagine. But Maria is just sort of becomes the central, like, okay, let's get this done. That's her thing. She never asked for this, never imagined that anything like this would happen. But it's like, let's get this done. And so she just decides that she's going to try and make this happen. And, ups and downs with a lot of challenges, but eventually we do get a couple dozen people, humans, babies, produced, and within 20 years, as soon as they're able to reproduce themselves, they're being pushed to basically make babies all the time just to keep the thing rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these young people, they don't have any knowledge of or interest in or even belief in Earth or anything, other than the fact that here they are on this planet and people are pushing them to, do stuff with people they barely even met. And so it's not exactly paradise. And things even continue to go downhill at times. But there are some visionary people, Maria and another guy, who come along and just see the potential. Build not a castle, but just a little town on a hill, surround it with a wall, fight off all these, crazy people trying to get in and monsters and you name it, and just try and build a civilization. And they persevere, but it ain't easy.
Mm-hmm. And do you think with the storyline, do you think that's tied along the lines where, let's say Christopher Columbus, comes to America, discovers and gets encounters like, hostile Indians and all that, or even like say, first settlers coming from England, coming to America, met with some friendliness and some resistance. Do you think it's along those lines, or is it something a little different?
Well, yes, you've sort of identified it. Every time civilizations intersect, collide, however you want to describe it, there's some rough edges. And one of the reasons this book is entitled Castle of Sand is because civilization is fragile. And when different civilizations impact each other, often one swallows and defeats the other. Sometimes it gets repelled, but eventually there's going to be some sort of mixing and joining, or some, people don't give up. If they see, look at this new country, we can make 50 states out of this,
Mm-hmm.
it's, they're going to stay. So these are some of the most awkward and difficult transitions that there can be in Earth's history and anywhere else. And, my point is that, these civilizations really are fragile. Everyone can kill themselves off, and, what good will all the great things we've done be if there's no one around to, enjoy the fact that we, created some of the marvels of the universe, like automatic garage door openers,
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. And of course, maybe even like, planting, growing corn, or, raising cattle, finding water, oil, or anything like that. What about some of the couple examples from the book, where you see like this, one's conflict and the other can be like, hey, we can work together on it. So just a couple examples.
Yes, there's in the sort of the middle section of the novel, the first generation and second generation are established. And so we've got people as old as about 40. And so we've got a range of people through there. And they have basically limited their home to a few acres around the remains of the spaceship. They have continually kind of moved out onto this, the lowlands there, but they're taking territory away from the native population, who sort of tend to stay away up in the jungle areas and in the hills. Inevitably, a leader of these natives decides we have to wipe out these humans. We have to wipe them out, throw them off our territory. That's it. So we're going to war. While this is building up, and as the battles are about to happen, one of the human descendants and one of the native teenagers, both teenagers, encounter each other by accident up in the hills while they're out scouting, hunting, whatever they're doing. And of course, they don't speak the same language, but they're just so curious that they just kind of sit down and just kind of point at each other and trade words and names and stuff. And they start to meet regularly, don't tell any, their parents or families or friends what they're doing. And before long, that connection and they learn each other's language a little bit. That connection actually helps diffuse an all-out war. Even though, their parents and families are very upset that they've been meeting with the other side. But, as much as they're different, they're not different enough that they can't and shouldn't get along. But we see in human nature, in Earth's history, in our country's history, people are very hesitant to just sort of welcome people from another country, another planet, you name it, but next door, I don't even talk to my neighbors because they just, they have their own lives and we have ours, and that's fine. On one side, the other side,
it sounds like today's society. It seems like.
Yes, exactly. So this is kind of a parable of today's society. It's out on this planet, and I did not shy away from getting into some of the social and even political aspects of what it's like when two peoples really have to work together instead of kill each other off. But it ain't easy. They manage, but it wasn't easy.
And certainly did too. And what do you want readers to get out of the book?
Basically, what it means to be human is not that easy to define, and it might be changing. Age of AI is going to really change what it means. We're going to be working in the best case scenario in tandem with artificial intelligence that is going to be very smart in some ways, but it's not going to be the same smarts that we have. We think differently. We always think differently. So we're going to have to deal with what is in effect an alien race in AI. So I want people to think about, can we accept this future with AI? Because really, we don't have a choice. We don't have an alternative. We're not going to just wipe it out. We're not going to defeat AI. We're not going to stop it from happening. It's too late for that. So can we find a way to just, cautiously, carefully get along?
And I think that's really important as well, too. And where can we find the book at, Steve?
Okay, the book is on Amazon. It's currently in paperback. The ebook version should be out fairly soon. My website, stevebateswriter.com, has all sorts of information about it. I'm going to get those tote bags and pillows made up now that I see how great yours are.
Okay, well, that's a great idea. I'll send you the links as well, too. So we're here with author Steve Bates of Castle of Sand here on the Mike Wagner Show. And just a few more minutes here. What can we expect from you in 2023 and beyond?
Okay, well, I'm still writing short stories. I do those because I still have a fairly short attention span for my days as a journalist. It's something you don't have to spend 2 years or more doing. So there's a certain kind of comfort level in doing that while you're still working on your next novel project. I started just a few weeks ago working on my next novel, and it's coming along, but I'm not the fastest writer. I need to go back and make sure I know what I've done before I go ahead, and not as young as I used to be. So I'm taking my time because each time I sit down to write something, I want it to be as good as it can be. So there'll be some more short stories this year, and in a year or two, I hope we'll see another novel and we'll talk again.
That sounds great. And of course, no AIs will be involved in this project unless necessary. Right. So, and who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Oh, gosh. Well, in terms of science fiction writing, Philip K. Dick, who's been gone for many decades, such a strange fellow, but he just with his completely fungible sense of reality, just continually forces me to think farther and farther outside the box. Many other great writers, but I think he's the one who really just warped my mind enough that I could consider being a sci-fi writer.
That's certainly interesting. Got some great stuff. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
To any young writer?
To anybody in general.
Okay. Don't be afraid to take risks. Go be bold. Don't just do the same thing everyone else has done. That's true for any walk of life. Any part of the job market or self-employment. Do something that is you, that is uniquely you.
That's a very good point indeed as well, too, for those listening and watching. Once again, we're author Steve Bates of Castle of Sand here on the Mike Wagner Show. Steve, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Live have you back. Once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can be purchased or check out your book and your works?
Yeah, they can go to my website, stevebateswriter.com. It's all there.
We'll certainly check that out. Once again, Steve, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Glad to have you back. Wish you all the best. And Steve, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you, sir.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show. Brought to you by international award-winning author Mia Mohsen-Zia of Missing, and powered by Sonic Web Studios. Be sure to join us again on over 40 podcast platforms, and of course on the mikewagnershow.com, hamiltonradio.net, and Diamonds FM. Don't forget to support our program with a generous donation at themikewagnershow.com. Thanks for listening.